And then the last thing is if you could each get a pen and paper, because we're going to have a few exercises quickly that you could write down or just to take some notes. That would be awesome. All right, so let's get going.
Yeah. So Kelly, am I echoing?
No, you're not.
I'm not. Okay, good.
So this is who we are. These are our faces when we look really good. And Cara, would you like to start here?
Sure. So I am Cara Bradley. I've been a truth teller for a few years now, but this summer I decided that it was time to meet Kelly because she had been so gracious in publishing my work for so many years. So I finally mustered up the courage. You know, sometimes it takes courage to do this stuff. And I emailed Kelly and said, hey, how about a phone call? And you know the way these things work, within 10 minutes, I had an email back from Kelly saying, yep, let's set it up. And so I would say, and I wrote a blog about our first conversation, Kelly, because I think it really speaks to what we're doing here today. Kelly and I got on the phone a few weeks later, and within 3 minutes, we had moved through any sort of small talk, and we were right down into the deep conversation. And I felt met, I felt heard, I felt acknowledged and supported and challenged, all within, you know, a half-hour conversation with Kelly. So I said to her immediately, you are kindred spirit, girl, and we've met, you know, we've met at the right time. And it really is now, this is what we are doing.
Yes. Definitely. And am I echoing?
No, you're not.
Okay, great. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm the founder of Women for One, like I said before, and I started Women for One probably about almost 6 years ago now, and we've really evolved over the years. The reason I started Women for One is because I wanted to write. That was the only thing I really wanted to do. I wanted to share my experiences. And within a year, Women for One evolved into this global community of women who share their truth. And it has just, Women for One has changed my life. And you know, a lot of times we do what we need. We create what we need. And I created a network of powerful women and men throughout the world to really learn from their experiences and their lessons, connect with, and share openly. And I am just so honored to continue this journey and connect with women such as Cara and the other incredible women that Cara's going to introduce next for our podcast series we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So before I introduce them, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a yoga studio owner. I've been teaching yoga for 20 years, and I also have just written a book called On the Verge, which will be out in April. It's taken the life out of me, but I am so excited and thrilled to bring this material to everybody. On the Verge is really a call to be awake and fully alive. I believe it's our birthright to experience life to the fullest. With all of our senses and to connect with each other at the highest levels. So living on the verge is really my passion, my mission, and it'll be out in April. You can pre-order it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. So that's my little plug. But I'm also super excited to tell you about our new podcast series. So during this first phone call that I had with Kelly, I asked her towards the end of the phone call, hey, Kelly, you've got all these amazing truth tellers. Did you ever think about doing a podcast with them? And she said, well, yeah, but I don't know if I have time to do it. Do you? And it was one of those moments, you know, when you have to be careful what you ask for. And it was also one of those moments when I felt time stand still. And I said without hesitation, yes. So this is what we're bringing to you today, is really the launch of our Real Women Courageous Wisdom podcast series. And what's so fabulous about this podcast series is that it truly is real women. It's real women that have shared with Women for One, so they're all truth tellers, and they're just bringing to us their story, their conversation. So with some of our truth tellers, we've got 2 on the line, or maybe 3 on the line today. We're just having some great...
Just 2 right now.
Just 2. Okay. So we have Anahita June and Nikki Payne, and you might be able to see them at the bottom of your screen. And what's amazing, Kelly, is that in the 20 minutes or the half hour that I spent speaking with these powerful women, they became members of my tribe. I mean, we connected so quickly, so fast, in just this kindred spirit way that I really believe that our podcast series will help all of you out there kind of tap into that energy that we get when we're with people that really make us feel great.
I totally agree with you. And there's one more on now, Wendy Bowling. Hi, Wendy. Wendy.
Right.
Yes. So welcome, Wendy, as well. She's one of our newest truth tellers, wouldn't you say, Cara? I think she's just come on.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to just say about these women is the women that Cara has interviewed, the women that I've spoken to over the years, and men, my heart, I can feel it in my heart. I just finished my manuscript for my book, and Nikki Payne is in my book several times about her courage. And it brings tears to my eyes to think about how women just step out, they learn from their lessons, and they help others and share their experiences. So I encourage all of you to go to our site and read these women's stories after and before you listen to the podcast. And we're going to be launching this over the next several weeks. We're going to put one or 2 out a week, one out every 2 weeks. So you'll have time to listen to it, to go read their submissions on our site if you search their name on the stories page. And I'm just really, really honored to have them give their energy and time to us so that we can all learn from their bravery and courage. So I think, Cara, we'll just go into what we're going to do today really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what you'll get today. I'm all kind of about the feminine process, but I really like to integrate that masculine, what am I going to get when I spend my valuable time somewhere? So first, I want to talk a little bit about what we all long for in a tribe. Because if we don't know what we long for or the values we seek in tribe members, we're not going to be able to create that or define it or really be clear about it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. We're also going to talk about which relationships in our life and take a look at it for a few minutes, who we have that we want to cultivate, we want to grow, we want to deepen. And then also, as we all have, I'm sure, relationships that we need to release. And we can release them with love. We don't have to get angry or make the person bad, but really what isn't serving us and get really clear about it.
Yeah. We're all... Am I or am I okay?
No, you're fine.
Okay, great, thanks. A couple of the other things that we're going to talk about, which I find is very, very powerful, is to really take a look at how our tribe, those people in our lives that we're spending a lot of time with right now, how they reflect our lives. And so to take a few moments to sit with some of the values, as Kelly said, and to really look at those that are in our lives right now are reflecting the way that we're currently living. And that could really open up some gateways for us to understand what it is that we want and what we want to manifest going forward. And so then we'll just take some steps. We'll learn about some of the steps that's going to help us create this powerful support system. Not every tribe member, as we'll learn, is equal. They're not all have the same influence, or they don't take up the same amount of time in your life. So we're going to look at all the different ways that we can create this incredible structure that supports us to put our best step forward out there.
Yeah. I really am excited to talk about all of it. So call it a clan, call it a network, call it a tribe, call it a family. Whatever you call it, whoever you are, we all need one. You need one. I know I do. And I want to share, growing up, I went to 17 schools from K to 12, and I was an only child. And people always say, were you in the military? And I'm like, no, it was just dysfunction. It was some family dysfunction. And I told that story to myself for a long time. Now I realize that in doing that, I created an incredibly valuable skill set of being able to connect with so many different kinds of women and men in my life, and really appreciate who they were for their good, their bad, their ugly. I mean, it was just really, I'm very, very appreciative. If my mom is on the line right now, thank you, because I think there's a lot of people that struggle with this, and it is an inherent quality I have. I have a lot of other flaws, but I feel like that's one of my strengths, is connecting with all different types of women and men. So when we're going into this, I want to start with just the definition of a tribe. And the dictionary says it's a social division in a traditional society consisting of families or communities, and it's linked by social, economic, religious, blood, with a common culture or dialect, and it usually has a recognized leader. We're not going to talk so much about that, but I kind of wanted it just to go into everyone to listen and hear what that means and feels to you, because we're going to ask you to define your own tribe today and how you would define it. And, even the psychologist Abraham Maslow, he said, a tribe is one of the 5 basic needs for humankind. And Cara and I both completely agree with that. Wouldn't you say, Cara?
Oh, my God. Absolutely.
So I'd like, before we get into exercises or having the other truth tellers share or any questions, for all of us to just close our eyes for a second and take 1 big or 3 big deep breaths. And I want you to listen to another truth teller who I just adore, Jennifer Pasteloff, who is pretty well known on the internet as well, and is such a great teacher and mentor to me. Well, how she defines her tribe. She says, find your tribe. The ones that make you feel the most you. The ones that lift you up and help you remember who you really are. The ones that remind you that a blip on the road is just that. It's just a blip. They're the ones, when you walk out of a room, they make you feel like a better person than when you walked in. They're the ones that even, and I'm tearing up as I say this, that's how close I feel to my tribe. They're ones that even if you don't see them face to face as often as you would like, you see them heart to heart. You know that kind of tribe? Who's your tribe? Jennifer Pasteloff said that. And it just brings tears to my eyes because I have so many connections with such powerful people. I'm just so grateful. So that gratitude piece is big with the people that really resonate. And I'd like you to all think for a minute and just sit with this and feel whose faces were brought up when I read that to you. Cara, you want to go into the next part or have anything to say?
I was thinking about my tribe. Yeah. So why we need tribes, and thank you, Kelly, for sharing your story. It really, it makes sense now because you're such a connector, and you do so effortlessly that it makes sense that now that you shared your background, which I think is what's so important for us to be able to share with people, so we get a sense of where people are coming from. I am the only girl between 2 boys in an Italian-American family. So, boys are king in most Italian-American families, and so I really found my tribe of sisters outside the family. And so my girlfriends, and other women that inspire me, we'll get into it a little bit, but I just wanted to give you all a little background of where I was coming from as well. Why do we need tribes? So many reasons. We can list them for an hour, as Kelly said before. Some of the few that Kelly and I really agreed upon and felt that were the most important was just to experience love. You know, that sense, definitely one of those five needed values on the hierarchy is the experience of love, of being belonging to a group, to like-minded people, passionate about the same values. So that's pretty obvious. To deepen connection and to deepen our ability to trust others, I know for me, those people that are in my tribe that I feel so close and connected to, they've helped me to build trust in my life with other relationships. So it's really just so important for us to have those powerful connections in our lives. Tribes also can eradicate loneliness. You know, there's this sense that we're all in this together when you're with people that you consider to be part of your tribe, that know you from all aspects, good, bad, and the ugly. How about you, Kelly? How about any others that you can talk about?
Well, I agree. You know, I love all of these. I really resonate with the trust piece. I've kind of blindly trusted women my whole life, and that has burnt me sometimes. And other times, I've noticed that there are a lot of women that have trust issues with one another and have felt burnt and then have shut down to deeper connections. I have that personally with men, and I'm working on that, and I'll work on that the rest of my life. But with women, I find that I can just look at the best part of them, probably 80 to 90% of women, and really see something that I love and trust that. And the other part is, for me, that whole intimacy piece that I wanted to mention, because intimacy to me is different than I think some other people. Intimacy isn't information sharing or sharing, you know, telling a bunch of stories. It's really, I can have one moment with someone and have this deep connection and feel like they're part of my tribe. And then another person I could know forever and really not know anything about them. So I think it's really good to get clear on that. You know, why you want a tribe and what it is that you want in the tribe, because it's not just to have a warm body next to you. It's to have that, for me personally, a deep connection and someone I can trust and have that will be accountable and be there for me.
Yeah, and the supporting one another. I mean, listen, we can't do this alone. You know, our lives are busy. We've got information bombarding us from every direction. We've got more and more roles that we have to play and social media that we have to keep up on. I mean, we just need the support of each other, knowing we're all going through this together. So those are some of the things, some of the reasons why, you know, tribes are just so important. And perhaps for you all listening out there, you know, one of the reasons why we felt this webinar would be of importance was because oftentimes we don't pay enough attention to those things that are right in front of our nose. And so this is really just to highlight for us all, hey, we need these tribes. We need these people in our lives. Let's get a little bit clearer on who's there, who's not, who we want to be there, who we don't. And so we're going to talk a little bit now about what we value in a fellow tribe member.
And I just want to say something before Cara goes into this. We're seeing some questions from several people saying, is there going to be time to answer some questions? If you could write them on the chat place. I'm not very good at technology. What's it called? The chat room. And we will make every effort to answer those questions as we're going along, or at the end we will save some time for any conversations, comments, or questions people may have. Okay, go ahead, Cara.
Okay, so Kelly and I went through these. I mean, again, I could have listed 50 more things that I value in a fellow tribe member. Some of the things that come to mind right now in my life, and they'll shift for sure, is that person and this is really a combination of, so I don't expect everyone to be everything to me at all times. Let me just say that. But I love to have good listeners by my side. I love to have people who are appreciative, not only of me, but of life and of their health and of their blessings. For people to be encouraging, to be there, like Kelly said before, just, in those intimate moments, you don't even need to say a word, but just to be encouraging that I know somebody is kind of there for me in an encouraging way, even if I'm really screwing up. Because I do. To be accepting of both my faults and their own, to kind of have a sense of humor with it all, because we can't take this all too seriously or we'll never have any fun. To be inclusive. I think that's a really big one. I don't know why I feel, like you said before, Kelly, you were brought to tears. There's something in me, I think, about feeling included in people's lives that's really very, very deep, and I probably need to look at that a little bit more. Non-judgmental. Obviously, I mean, we live in such a judgmental country and culture that to have somebody that I don't feel like I'm under a microscope with all the time, and honestly, we'll get to it later, but it comes full circle. If I'm non-judgmental, I'll probably attract those that are non-judgmental as well. Those who acknowledge me. I'm really big on acknowledging. I spend a lot of my day trying to find ways to acknowledge people. It's an amazing practice that I'll talk a little bit about more later if I have some time. And also, which is really important, is somebody that challenges me. Because the way that I grow is not from having everyone agree with me. The way that I grow is for others to say, you probably could have said that a little bit differently, maybe a little bit more softly, or this or that. So I have a lot of people in my life that challenge me in a very good way. So I'm growing all the time.
Yeah. And I love all of those qualities. And for me, I want to start out with saying 3 things about tribes before I get into just briefly touching on this, because we're getting a lot of questions, Cara, that I might read a couple out once we get to that section. I see tribe, and I wrote a blog on it a couple of years ago, as a little different take than most people, because tribe to me could be in a larger lifetime tribe. So that means those people that maybe I met once. One time I had a moment with this Native American man on a bus. I know that sounds really weird, but he just looked into my eyes and I was like, I know you. And it just opened my heart. I could feel it. I was like, what was that? I still remember him, and I was 19. Just one moment. Another tribe for me is that inner circle daily tribe, and call it codependent, call it whatever you want. It's those people you can go to where it says the one I can call from a bathroom floor sobbing at 3 a.m. I only have like 2 probably in the world that I feel that safe with to do. One is my best friend forever, and one is one of my newer friends the last 7 years that I know no matter what, she would be there for me. So that's a big one for me. And the last one, which some people don't consider as a tribe member, and I want to challenge everyone to think about this, is those people you don't really want in your life that are teaching you lessons. Because I have several, and I think all of us do. And, we got to coexist on this earth. Sometimes I'm like, why is this person in my life? What is the lesson? And maybe the lesson is just to set boundaries and not have to deal with that person, or to learn about myself, get another part of a tribe. And I think it would be great if all of us could look at the world as our tribe and then narrow it down a little bit more. Obviously today we're talking about the tribe that will support us, but I just wanted to touch on that, because I think if someone's in your life, bottom line, if they are in your life, there is something to learn from them. That's my belief. It doesn't have to be yours, but that's mine. And I'm always curious as to why someone is in my life that I don't want in my life, that I don't have a choice about, and I usually can find the lesson. Okay, so generally, I mean, I love the supportive, the respectful, the mentorship. It's really shifted for me in my late 40s on who is in my tribe these days, because in the past it used to be people that were just like me when I was a little more insecure and a little less mature. I wanted everybody to kind of be like Kelly, so I felt safe. I love the people that aren't like me these days. My husband is like the complete opposite of me. He's a conservative Republican, Scotch drinking, cigar smoker, golfer. I don't do any of that. So and he is probably my favorite person in the world. So really challenging yourself to look at what your values are instead of just trying to align with everybody that's like, oh, I'm spiritual and I'm a seeker, and it didn't work for me. What worked for me is getting clear on my values and then setting my intention to draw those types of people, those values. So I think that's really all I need to say about that. That's well, let's move on so we can talk to some other people.
Yeah.
So I want to land on this slide really quickly, and then we're going to invite the other truth tellers to come in to speak for a minute, because I love this. The best kind of friendships are fierce lady friendships, where you aggressively believe in each other, defend each other, and think the other deserves the world. And this, I love people like that. I mean, I had 5 faces come up when I was reading that from Jennifer Pasteloff, 5 faces, and that's what brought me to tears. And those people that lift you up, that have your back, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. I just think it's a really powerful thing to cherish those and grow and cultivate those. Cara, what do you think?
Oh, I'm so with you on that. I have a couple of people that come to mind too, where I really, really feel from the bottom of my heart, I just want them to rock in any way they want to rock. I just want to help you. I want to be there for you. Let's go. Let's do this. And so for all of you listening, I'm looking at some of the questions coming through, and we're going to talk about how to kind of cultivate those relationships in your life, because they will take a little bit of work, and a lot of the work happens really in just getting very, very clear with yourself what it is that is most important to you. But I'm with you, those fierce lady friendships, boy, I couldn't live without them right now. I really couldn't. And like you, Kelly, I'm 51 now, and my relationships have changed as well. And there are people in my tribe that I don't see hardly ever. But I know that they're there. They're a thumbs up on a Facebook post or something. We're there in so many ways for each other these days. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. But for those of you with some of these questions, which I think are amazing, our tribe will look so different in so many different ways. It's like that multifaceted diamond. And so if you're willing to really get curious and open up a little bit, you may realize that you have more people in your life than you think right now. So that's what we're going to do together.
Great. And we're going to ask Anahita and Nikki and Wendy to come on, right, Cara?
Yeah. So I'd love to introduce you to some of our truth tellers that I had the absolute honor of interviewing for our podcast. So Anahita, could we start with you? This is Anahita June. She is so Anahita's podcast is going to be live today, by the way, everybody. Please listen to it. I was so incredibly inspired just interviewing her. I wanted to move to LA, and that's the truth. So Anahita, could you tell us a little bit about what your values are for your tribe members?
Hi. Oh, this is all just so good. I'm so honored to be here. I can't believe you're kicking off the series with me. Yeah, my values: authenticity, transparency. I love this quote: "The best kind of friendships are fierce lady friendships, where you aggressively believe in each other, defend each other, and think the other deserves the world." That just rocked me right now, and I was like, yeah, because I'm so grateful for, especially the women I have in my life. My values in tribe it's really equality. I have to say is one of my greatest. There are there are so many people that are on their own path of personal development and growth and spirituality. But I feel like what makes me want to just give endlessly to someone from a place of overflow is when I really feel like we meet eye to eye, and it's never a I'm better than. So that equality, like I had a friend that I was close to for a while, and there was something about that friendship where she just needed to be in control of the situation all the time. And it just slowly faded away, you know? And I had no judgment against it, but there were other people that were coming into my life it was so different. It was never, no one ever needed to have the upper hand just a little bit, you know? So for me, that equality is really great. And then, of course, being able to share my crazy with someone is really, really important. I called one of my girls, who is definitely a sister forever and ever, a couple of days ago. I've been having so many openings, and then I found that I was not really protecting my field in the right way, so then I was feeling really shredded a couple of days later. So I called her. I didn't know this is what was happening, though. So I called her and I said, she goes, how are you? I said, oh my God, it's like I'm in ecstasy to the brink of like the maximum for 24 hours. And then I've been crashing like to the depths of despair. Mm-hmm. And she just goes, what do you want, a club membership? Well, okay.
You know, that's it, Anhita, is, you know, somebody who's going to really just say, you know, you're going to just tell it like it is, which is what we want. Oh, my. I want that. Just tell me like it is. I often say to people, to those that are real close to me, what am I missing? Like, tell me, what am I missing here? Just be honest with me, right? So, yeah. Nikki, could I bring Nikki on? Because Nikki, I know, has so much to share with us as well. Nikki Payne, how are you?
I am great. I would, before you ask me a question, I was really touched by one of the slides. When I was growing up, I never looked at women as a tribe. My grandmother, she used to always tell us that, you know, women were messy and that they always started trouble and you have to watch out for them. So I grew up thinking that other women were my competition. I never looked at them as if they were supportive, and I never supported another woman. I don't think I reached that point until I was about 30. And so this webinar and looking at the slides has just made me reevaluate my entire life. And I just text my nieces and I told them that I love them and that I'm going to have to deprogram them this evening. And I know that they think that I'm crazy, but that's just the way that we grew up. And I don't want them to look at other people as their or other women as their competition. I think I would have been so further along in my life and with all my trials if I knew that I could go to another woman and say, I need some help.
That is awesome, Nikki. I so agree with you. I think a lot of women out there aren't taught that, and we've got to teach our kids and our friends and everyone about how to support one another through, I think, our actions, right? And our words and especially our actions.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful, Nikki. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we have Wendy on the line. Hey, Wendy.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So, Wendy, tell us about what you value in your tribe.
Well, I've been in engineering in a male-dominated high-tech industry working for 30 years, and I think as we get older, we don't put up with as much crap. And we actually don't put up with as many people that really bring more negativity in your life than uplift, right? So I think we all are getting better in so many ways as we get more wise. I have struggled over the years with feeling really isolated and really finding people who you feel like have your back. And so I created a Coolest Women in Tech group here in Denver 8 years ago because we were so isolated in these male-dominated industries, and it has been so fabulous to have at least once a month a happy hour where we all get together, and it is the most high energy, uplifting space where people are there to just support you and to help each other. And you look in your life, and some of us are lucky enough to have family like that, and some of us aren't, and we have to choose our family as our friends. And I've been lucky that I have a friend of mine, my best friend, doesn't work outside the home, and yet her and I, she's got my back. She is one of my fierce lady friends, and I feel so lucky. So I love that comment you made, Kelly, about having such diversity in your life. If you're all looking for the same thing, you tend to y'all go run over the cliff together, and nobody's stopping us, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I can't tell you how a tribe has meant so much to me. It's funny how a lot of my tribe is not local. So I love that technology helps us to stay connected in a way, but it's nothing as good as just spending some good old time together. I just got back last night from Mexico with my best friend, celebrating getting my content of my book done. Now I get to do the editing phase, and it's just amazing just spending 4 days with her, how it just energizes you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations, Wendy. That's fabulous news on your edit.
Thank you.
So
I would like to say one thing, Cara. When we ask, I see a lot of this in the business sense of people saying, how do I find a mentor, or how to find a networking group? And it feels very similar to this. And a lot of times it's just asking people who have something in common that could help each other in an ongoing way. So if you're creating a new business idea, to create your own little mastermind of women who are also kind of leaping out in that crazy world. So just asking people, I've found, has been the best thing. Would you feel okay with us having a call every month? Or I've even done this with the book and other authors. It's been fabulous to support each other. We have a woman here that has an LLL group, Literary Ladies Lunch. And she's created her own tribe. It's really phenomenal, but you need somebody that has the guts to ask, to be honest, to go out and ask people.
I agree. You got to put yourself out there for sure.
Sure.
Wendy, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. In the interest of time, I do want to say, I want to address something, because we've gotten several comments, gotten a couple emails and the Google Hangout comments about some people feeling like, this is almost, one person said, this is making me sad because I don't have these friendships. And I will tell you, several years ago, I had all these friends, quote friends, but I lost one of my dearest friends. She had died, and I remember when I completely shut down to new friendships. I was just talking to another person about this the other day, and I want to address this because, especially before we move into the next section, because it's a really tough thing to open yourself up, and it's challenging, and I bet many of us and many of you on this call can relate and resonate with what I'm saying when we've been betrayed, when we've felt like we've put ourselves out there and gotten either shut down, rejected, lied to, all of those negative things. We've got to be able to feel those things and kind of be kind to ourselves instead of beating ourselves up for not being where we need to be next. Because I remember I've had a couple of betrayals over the last couple of years that I was rocked by women. And I had to take the time to take a deep breath and sit with what happened and really look at the lessons for me and what the choices I made that I could have done differently with it. And it took a lot of time for me to come out of that, as well as losing my friend, to trust again. And all it did for me after I sat in it was deepen and get me more clear about what I wanted in my relationships. Because I thought I was like blind to a lot of things that I did that upset people, and also blind to who they were. I was projecting on to who they were instead of really seeing them. What's that quote, Cara? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. I think Maya says that, Maya Angelou. It's like, projecting on to other people what we want instead of seeing them for who they truly are. I think it's just really important to acknowledge that instead of me sitting around saying, oh, I've got all these friends and this is easy. It has not been an easy journey for me, and I was remiss if I didn't say it at the beginning. It is challenging, and it is a lifelong journey to create this tribe and keep cultivating it. Wouldn't you say?
Oh my gosh. So just thank you, Kelly. Thank you for saying that, and thank you for opening that door, because I am an employer. I run a yoga studio, but I'm also run a business. And out of the 33 teachers that I have, 30 of them are women. And for a long time, as a female business owner, I felt very, very lonely. And I say that and I get, choked up. Very, very lonely, because here all these women that were working for me, and, this is yoga, right? Still so much to deal with, and so many egos and who's doing what and all this, and it was a very, very lonely ride for me for about 9 years, until, like you, Kelly, I started to say I need to have these, like Anahita said, I need to have equal friendships. But I'm working so much, and I'm seeing all these people. They're either students or teachers or employees of mine. And so I made a very conscious effort to, to cultivate. And we're going to get to that. We want to get to the creating and the cultivating right away. So, all right. So everybody, grab hold of your pen and paper, because now it's your turn. And what we'd like to do is, we're going to do two parts of this exercise. The first thing we'd like you to do, firstly, is to take 3 deep breaths, because there's a lot of information that's just come across our whiteboard here. And then with pen to paper, can you write down 5 values that come to mind of what you would value in a tribe member, what you do value, or what you'd like to value, anything that comes to mind. They could be some of the same things that we spoke about. So we need to get clarity on what it is we value in our tribe before we really can start to look at how to cultivate it. So we'll take another minute or so. And again, the importance is to get crystal clear. Is it authenticity? Is it acknowledgement? Is it a sense of humor? Is it vulnerability? And now if you're finished with that, we'll move on to our second question is, who is in your tribe?
And I want to say something before people answer that. If you look at the slide, we were actually going to do another slide, and I forgot, actually. Messy, Kelly. You cannot find yourself until you find your tribe. And when Cara and I were creating this, I went, well, you can't find your tribe until you can really find yourself and know who you are. switching it around. So really look at that and don't get scared by that or feel judged by it. I would look at that statement like, you are your tribe. You know what you want. You just kind of have to ask the right questions, and that's what we're doing here. Go ahead, Cara.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is it's like looking at yourself in a mirror. When you look at your tribe, and your tribe reflects back to you the values that you're holding to be the most important things in your life. So just sit with that and keep that paper close at hand. And just one more time, I'll say you cannot find yourself until you find your tribe. And as Kelly said, we're going to flip it back and say you cannot find your tribe until you find yourself. So this is really exciting news because, why are we alive anyway? Let's just do this. Let's just really get into what it is we value and who we want surrounding us. This is time well spent, folks. I know it has been for me. So
I agree, and I also think I think one woman said something about her daughter is part of her tribe. My kids are my tribe. I mean, I have 6 children. I have 3 stepchildren and 3 of my own, and they're all ages 15 to 21 now. And I see them as part of my tribe. We don't have to assign this value that tribe members always have to. They're all different. They take on different roles. So I see my pack of family as my tribe members as well. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So getting real about your tribe, I think this is a good question for everyone. And who brought up who has my back? I think Anahita, someone brought that. Who has my back? Maybe Nikki and Wendy. And also Cara actually put that one, the who has my back one. So I'll let you talk about that. But I look at sometimes. I'm a yes girl to people. I'm always like, sure, My director at Women for One's like, Kelly, you're always saying yes, because I love different experiences and I want to experience different people to see if I'm going to have a deep connection with them and I can learn from them. But so with that, we really need to get clear about who drains us, and who is always taking and not giving back and not lifting. And I really want people to think about this. We can only spend a minute on it because we don't have a lot of time in this webinar. But I want people to think about when you're around someone, go into your feminine, and when I say that, take a deep breath, feel your body. And when you walk away from somebody, that feeling like you've been sucked dry, or like it just didn't feel right. Ask yourself the question, why do I feel this way? You don't have to blame them, but you could just say, hey, did I just get totally drained? Did I allow myself to not have a boundary? That's a really good question to be asking yourself with people. And then on the same hand, who empowers me? I mean, I know one of my dear friends, Melanie, all the time, every time I'm around her, I'm like, I feel great about myself. Those are nice people to be around. It feels good. And that's what she gives me. So I get really clear that that's what Melanie gives me, and it makes me positive, and I give that back to her. And then, Cara, you want to talk about who has your back a little?
Well, this is such a loaded question, and you could take it so many ways. And I think that we all know intuitively, just as human beings, sentient beings, we have this incredibly deep sense of who's got my back, who is there for me to lift me up, to give me the kind words, to support me when I need to listen. So it really encompasses so much who has my back. And so we put this question in because we know that it'll be interpreted in so many different ways. But it's an important one to ask yourself and to see what it means to you.
Yep. So that's that. Moving on. Like we said before, your tribe is like a mirror. It reflects back to you exactly what you put out into the world. This is a loaded quote as well, and that's why I wanted to put it up, because I mean, if you look at that, I've had times in my life, we don't have to sit around and beat ourselves up about when people are betraying us. That's not ours to take on. when someone makes a choice to betray us, be dishonest, be angry, reject us. So I wanted to kind of put that up because a lot of people internalize this and think it's their fault. It's not a fault thing. It's more of taking a look and an awareness piece. Like, let's get an awareness of who I've made the choice to surround myself with and why have I? And asking those kind of questions, which we're going to get into in a minute. Cara, do you have anything to say there?
Well, I think it really gets back to just getting crystal clear on what it is you're looking for in your tribe. And if you're not getting that, if you're not seeing those type of people really surrounding you right now, then it's really a great thing to pause and turn inward and just reflect back with a really kind hand, just to reflect back on yourself. And we'll get to some of those just in the next slide or two.
Right. And I'm going to briefly go through these because we want to get to the 5 C's about how to cultivate an empowering tribe. So you can we'll send you this link and you'll have all this information you can review later. But really, it's about you. And the first thing I want to say is Don Miguel Ruiz is the author of the 4 Agreements, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him. If you haven't, he's a Women for One truth teller. I did a Skype. I was very honored to do a Skype video interview with him, and I love this one. You know, really not taking anything anybody else does personally. It's one of my greatest challenges in life. To trust yourself, to acknowledge the people you admire. And Cara, you talk about that a lot. Like, really lean in. You talked about that before. Yeah. Boldly acknowledge them. And if you don't do it, make an intent to do that more often, right?
Absolutely. Acknowledging other people could be such an incredible way of connecting with people. And if it's done with genuineness, it blows things away. You know, it not only makes somebody else feel great, but it empowers me. It empowers people to acknowledge others out of the blue sky, you know, out of nowhere. Just acknowledge if you see something beautiful, you know, as Anahita talks about all the time, beauty. See beauty, name it. Name it in people.
Right. And then be authentic, be open to new connections. I always say my friend card is never full. You know, people are like, my friend card is full, or I don't want to put myself out there, or I'm too busy. You know, really, really set your intent to be open and trust. See others beyond their roles, kind of like what Cara was talking about. You know, don't see someone in the way they're presenting in the world, kind of like I was talking about with my husband. When I met my husband, judged him for this business, you know, cigar smoking golfer, instead of really seeing who he really was after a few conversations. That might have not have happened. And then be generous. And Cara, you talked about that. You said Anahita said generosity is disarming.
Yeah, when Anahita wrote it, I think I feel. Am I okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Anahita wrote about it, spoke about it somewhere, that generosity is disarming. You know, if we just put ourselves out there and give to people in a very genuine way, not as a, you know, kind of doormat type of way, it really can throw people in a way that they look at you like maybe like you're kind of a little crazy, but it's a very endearing quality. You know what I'm saying? Anahita, yeah. Do you remember writing that? I asked you about it in the podcast.
You know what's funny? I don't remember writing that, but I just want to share this quickly, that today I experienced this. I was in the locker room at the gym, and this woman, this really well-known yoga teacher, was there. And the last time that we had an exchange, I really wanted to tell her something, and I held myself back. And so today I said, I have to tell you something. And I just told her, I said, you know, there is a fierceness in your eyes, and I just want you to know I see you. And we hadn't been that close because we're in circles together, but literally it was coming from such a genuine place because I was so bummed that I didn't let myself share that with her. And she was just so grateful and so receiving and was like, I want you to come speak to my class, come teach to my class. And we couldn't stop talking all the way out the door. So I don't remember writing it, but it's like right on.
Beautiful. I mean, generosity, it's a gateway in many ways. So thank you for that. All right.
Okay. let's move into the cultivate. Here we go.
So how do we cultivate an empowering tribe? I'm going to talk about the first two. Kelly will talk about the last few. As we said before, it's about getting really curious and clear. So if, as some of these questions are coming through, if you're concerned that maybe you don't have a tribe, or you've lost your tribe, or anything that has happened in the past, today is a new day one. Today is the day you can really sit down with your journal and get curious about who's here, who do I want to be here, what values do I want those people in my life to have, and start to really get clear on it. And that's going to really give your tribe a new breath of life, I believe.
Yes, especially with the clarity and the awareness that being curious does for us. And secondly, I would say, after curiosity and clarity, thirdly, I would say choice is a big one for me. Choice is a differentiator in everything I do. I see a lot of people recycling in their, I don't know if I'd call it victimhood, but recycling in a place of I can't do this, the can'ts, and sitting in the it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, what do I do? And they stay in curiosity and ask the questions. But moving into choice is such a powerful place to be, because you get very real that you have a choice to say yes, no, or take action. And it's our choice and our choice alone as to who we will surround ourselves with. And when we take ownership of that, we can move a little bit in our lives and reach out and have the courage to move out, which could be another C, be courageous and make a choice. The next one is clear out. And clear out to me is having boundaries and discernment, because we bottom line, we don't have all the time in the world. And we've got to get really clear on what our values are and who we want to have in our lives and who we don't want to have in our lives, without making the people we don't want bad or wrong. But getting clear and clearing out is taking a pause when you say yes or no. I've learned that. Just the power of that pause is really important. And then the cultivate is to cultivate connections. Take action. Make a choice, then take action. Be open and connect, and make the decision to select people who are aiding you in becoming the most divine being you're capable of being. Like it's really about taking that baby step, Cara.
Yeah, great. I love these. And like Kelly said, you'll have these slides to go back to over and over. Write them down. Put them on your steering wheel of your car, and this is how we start to create new practices in our lives that will open up the gateways for new people. I know I see some of the questions, about closed groups, and people say they have all their friends, and it's like when we open ourselves up, we start to polish that mirror, great things will shine back at us. I truly believe that.
Absolutely, definitely. So please take the baby steps. Set one intention today. We ask you to set one intention today to cultivate your tribe, and then let us know about it. Email us. I want to just briefly, since it's noon now, have Cara talk a little bit how you can subscribe to the podcasts, and then we'll talk about our bonuses.
Okay, well, great. So, Real Women, Courageous Wisdom, you've heard from a few of our truth tellers. We had talked about doing a really brief little, it's almost like an injection of energy, these podcasts, in my opinion. They're 20 minutes, so from here to work, from work to the gym, wherever, 20 minutes of hearing two women. You'll always hear me, sorry about that, but you'll always hear me and one of our truth tellers just talking sort of like Kelly and I are talking about today, just talking about what empowers us, what inspires us, how we support other people, how we feel supported, a little bit about our stories. And so I'm hoping our intention is that they're like little hits, little energy shots to lift women up, to get them telling their own stories and sharing their own courageous wisdom, not only with Women for One, but with the world. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, you can subscribe today on iTunes. So just like you subscribe to any other podcast, and then once a week we'll put up a new one. We've got 10 fabulous truth tellers coming up in the coming weeks.
Yes, definitely. I can't wait. And you can see the list of them on our site as well. Do we have the list anywhere, Sam? Not yet. Cara, do you have the list in front of you of all the people?
I don't, but I could probably name. Oh, I could name them. Sure. So we have Anahita June. We have Kelly, Nikki Payne, Mercedes Maidana, Amy White, Dana Prophet, Asha Daya, Liz Adams, Rahanita Adamu, and Anahita. I think I said that. And Lisa Cohn.
And Wendy Bowling. And I will tell you right now, these are some fabulous women. And it's so cool to hear just real women, not women that are known all over the world. You know, some of them are more known than others, but just real women and their stories, because that's how we can connect with one another more and gain the lessons we need. So let's move on to bonuses. We've got 2 bonuses here, Cara.
Yeah, so I have recorded a short Find Your Tribe meditation, and excited about putting this out, and I will definitely record another one, and we'll get it to you, because what we talked about today was really so fabulous that I'm inspired to record another meditation to really hit some of these points. So you'll be able to download this Find Your Tribe meditation with me. And Anahita put together a great True Essence quiz that I just took, so I can't wait to get my answers back. And we'll be sending you these in a follow-up email with the links.
And today we are launching Anahita, right? Right after this. It's on the site already. Yep. So we're really excited, Anahita, to have you today, and hopefully everybody will listen to that. So here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them. And we really want to hear from all of you and let us know about your thoughts, your reactions, your questions, and pass this podcast on when you get the link. We'd love to continue this conversation if there's an interest, and talk and support one another for the future of 2016. So thank you, everyone. This is the info at Women for One. And Cara, do we have your email somewhere? It's on the second slide, right?
I don't think my email's there, but I would love to hear from you. It's Cara with a C, Cara at carabradley.net. And if you go to my bio, you can get to my website, and you can get to me as well on Women for One.
And you can always email us at info, and we can give it to you.
Yeah, I'll actually put it right here.
So thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Anahita. Thank you, Wendy. And I love you, Cara. Thank you so much.